haven't done a video since my last video on the cannabis sector when I saw a whole bunch of breakouts, and that's because I've been too busy trading and I really just haven't been inspired to do anything. I like to do videos when I have something important to do them about. So anyways, I'm back with another one on the cannabis sector. I've been watching all the sectors and this one is the one where I'm seeing the setups. Again, it's similar to my last video. I'm going to go through all the tickers that I see setups in and just look at different levels that we can be watching. Something a little bit different in this video from the last video, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to be looking at the United States multi-state operator cannabis tickers as well as the Canadian cannabis tickers that I've been looking at. And the reason for that is, yes, they are on smaller exchanges. They don't have the same volume as what we typically see on the NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange, but they do have a lot of people trading them. And as far as those exchanges goes, they have a lot of volume for those exchanges. But these are successful companies. They're operating in many different states in the US where cannabis is legal. So things down the road could be happening big for these tickers. So I always keep an eye on these US MSOs because eventually things might change and they may get uplisted. We could see a huge bull run. So that's what I'm watching for. And I'm going to analyze some of these today because I see some of them just setting up for another leg up. So looking at TLRY, let's see what we did. After the last time I charted this was here when we were coming down to that EMA 12 and thought we might break off of that, which we did. We had a bit of a bull break. We got over this SMA 100, which is really good because we're trying to change that daily trend. Now we're getting a little bit of retracement and we're having some daily consolidation. So we look like we closed near the end of the day, so not a strong close. So what I would be looking for would be for us to come back to this EMA 12 again before scouting any other type of breakout. But what I do like when I look at this chart is we have just this nice stair-step pattern all the way up. So if we can keep that going, then we can work on continuing to change the daily trend here. Let's flip over to the hourly and see what we have there, because I have drawn what I see, which is this decent falling wedge right here. And over the last 4 hours, we've come down to this 1231 support area. So if that can hold, then we could possibly break off of that. But if that were to break, then I would look down here in this area because we can see we have this little bit of gap here on the hourly chart. So yeah, not there, that area, maybe over here, 1194 area for some support. So I'd be looking at this area for some support. If we can break off of that is when I would start to scale into a position. But if this breaks, then I would possibly, you could go short here, or if all the way up to maybe this level. And again, this all depends on how our RSI is doing. So looking at our RSI, we are in a pretty standard place. So we aren't oversold or anything like that on the hourly. So there's nothing saying that we're going to have an oversold bounce here. So we just want to see if we can get some support and then we can break bull off this falling wedge. But like I said, in case that doesn't happen, the next area that I'm going to be looking at is this 1194. And I like this area because if you flip over to the daily, the 1194 level lines up with this EMA 12, which at the beginning I said this is probably the level that we may come back to, which this is what we generally come back to when we have big moves. So I would not be surprised to see us come back to this 1194 area, and then we can bounce off this EMA 12. ACB, we are similar to TLRY. We are pulling back, of course. In this 4-hour chart, you can see VIG looked like this head and shoulders pattern. So if this head and shoulders does continue, then we will continue our daily consolidation, which is what we're in right now. But we had a big move from ACB. Back when I called this Golden Cross, we just look at how far we went. So, I mean, when you have a big move like this, even though this is a speculative sector, we're going to pull back and we're going to fill some of these gaps. We have a gap at the chart at 766 right here, and this aligns with the EMA 12 perfectly. So this is the area that I'm thinking that we would likely pull back to, and I would be a lot more comfortable loading up if we pulled back to here, because if we close this gap and we have significant retracement, then this chart is a lot more solid and a lot more healthy to make another move up. So we can see that we have this bullish pattern forming, but we could possibly pull back further to the 766 level. It's really only like it's 20 cents away, so it's not really that far. So I could see us in the morning dropping down to that level and then breaking out after that. So let's fill that gap for ACB and then take another leg up from here. Oils is actually in a pretty good position here. I can see us having a decent breakout because we've pulled back nicely and we're hovering right around the EMA 1226 area. We've got this double bottom right here. So I'm not seeing us going further than that. We have this nice area to watch at 25 cents. So this is one that's looking healthier than the others. We didn't have a huge move from this one. It's just been steady climbing all the way up. So oils is one to keep an eye on. But here's one that I like, VFF. And you can see I've drawn this very obvious bull flag cup and handle pattern here on the daily timeline. We had a big move after good earnings, and we've retraced really well. So this one, we could have another day or two within this bull flag, but this one is pretty close to having a breakout. So I am scouting, and I think it's actually hourly. We are close to oversold, so we could have a drop down in the morning where we get to oversold conditions, and then we can see a big break out of this flag. So I'm definitely keeping an eye on VFF. And so as I was looking at the cannabis sector, I noticed quite a few setups in the US MSOs. So these aren't all on the large exchanges. Some of them, well, most of them are on the Canadian exchange, CSE, as well as the OTC, and the reason for that is because it's not federally legal in the United States, so it can't be listed on the larger exchanges. So some of these companies are quite undervalued. Eventually, when the laws do change, I think that we're going to see some huge bull moves in these tickers. We're going to see uplistings to exchanges. We're going to see just rallies out of control, and that's what a lot of investors that are in this sector have been waiting for. Are we there yet? Maybe not, but seasonality will dictate a run here in this sector, and the fact that we have had a little bit of bull moves recently is leading me to believe that it could possibly happen again. So I'm scouting some positions in these tickers, and I'm just going to go through some of them right now. Cresco Labs, this is CL on the CSE, and it is CRLBF on the OTC. So you can see I am drawing this little pattern that I'm seeing, this descending triangle right here. We are hovering in between the SMA 100 and the EMA 12. And as you know, with all the charts that I go back to, I do like to have some retracement after a big move like this to this EMA 12. So we could pull back here, but we're getting tighter. We are tighter in this pattern than on the last few that we looked at. And we closed on this inverted bullish hammer. So, and we've got this solid base of support right here. So we could possibly see another leg up right from this level. So this is a nice clean level for us to watch at this 911 level. And yeah, looking at the hourly, we've got the head and shoulders possibility as well. But look at this level, this 911. This is very nice level for us to watch. So we can watch the 911. If we break the 911, then we look to the EMA 12. And then we look for us to get some support over here at this area. And then we can start looking for positions right around that area. Now, before I move on to the next ticker, I just want to touch on the fact that after I guess it looks like we had a big earnings, and after that we pushed over this EMA 100 with some force, and we have retraced a little bit, but we just keep touching this SMA 100. So if we can get over that, then we continue, and we can continue into a daily uptrend here for Cresco Labs. Curaleaf Holdings, this is CURA on the CSE and CURLF on the OTC. So this one is getting tight. We are definitely not as strong. We haven't come near that SMA 100 yet, but we are getting some support right here from the EMA 12. We're resting on that, and you can see that we closed on a daily inside bar, which is indecision doji right here. So this ticker doesn't know what it wants to do, but the fact that we have gotten so tight right here means that we're going to break out tomorrow in one direction, and we're going to know as soon as we break out in which direction that this ticker is going to go. And the way that we know is we look at the range that we have from today, and this is our range that we watch. Look at that tight range that we've been in here on the hourly. So if we break this 1291, then we know, even if we come back down a little bit, but if we break it and we have a little bit of follow through, then we come back down, then that's when I would start scouting a position right here in Curaleaf. But if we were to break this one and have some follow through, then it would be a bear position. So this is a good chart right here because we have some areas to watch and the things that we can actually get behind. So yeah, I'm liking this chart on Curaleaf. I'm going to keep an eye on this one. Medmen Enterprises, so this is MMEN on the CSE or MMNFF on the OTC. Now, this is getting pretty tight. So this is just this perfect symmetrical triangle here, and we're getting so tight right here in this pattern. This chart, or this company here, I don't know what's going on with them, but they do get a lot of hate from a lot of people. I think just judging by the chart, they had a lot of financial problems, but I know that recently I heard that TLRY was giving them some backing, and I guess TLRY is going to be doing something with this company. I'm not sure where that stands because I'm definitely a technical trader more than I am fundamental trader, but looking at this chart, something looks like it's going to be happening soon. We are coming to we are just tightening up super duper tight. And what happens with these patterns, it's just the psychology of the chart and the way that it moves is that bulls are not able to push it past this level. Bears are trying to push it down past this level. Bulls are pushing it through this level. It's like a tug of war match, and we're coming right to the tip of this tug of war match. I might be able to move this a little further. Yeah, we're coming right to the tip of this tug of war match. I like when we get to the tip of the tug of war match. So we're going to break in a direction at this point. We're not going to, or sometimes what happens is we could continue on sideways into an equilibrium. So that is a possibility as well. But I like to watch these tight patterns for a break, and of course, because of the rest of the sector is getting some bullish moves, it would be a bull break that I would have my eye on here. MSOS, this is actually on a larger exchange. This is an ETF where you can get exposure to these MSOs. So basically, this is just showing us what's happening in the sector. So I definitely always keep an eye on this one. And I just drew that pattern to explain what I was saying in the last ticker about just getting tight, because you can see that we're dropping. We filled the gaps and we're getting tighter in this pattern. And I always like when we come back down to this EMA 12. So EMA 12 for the ETF, which is representing many of these MSOs. So you keep an eye on this. And when this looks like it's good, I go and start looking at the other tickers in this sector. So this is looking pretty good as well, MSOS. Truelieve, Cannabis, this is TRUL on the CSE or TCNNF on the OTC. I zoomed out here so you could just get an idea of the difference that we have in the volume versus where we've been for the past little while. So our volume was always down here, but lately we are all the way up here. So there is more interest returning to the sector. Even on the US MSO side, we're doing the classic stair step up here, and basically you can see we touched the SMA 100, came back down, bounced off this EMA 12, come back down to the SMA 100 again. I'd like to see us at least come back and touch the SMA 100 and then possibly continue another move, but I don't think I need to draw this. This is a nice little pattern forming on Truelieve. I will draw it anyway, just really quickly. I just have a lot of members in the Discord say that they like to see the patterns because some people can't visualize it or see it the same way that I do. So I do draw them for the people. And I flip to this 4 hour. So draw on the daily time frame and flip through and see how it looks on the other time frame. So you can see this is pretty tight. It's getting tight in Truelieve as well. But like I said, we could come back down to that SMA 100 is a possibility. We don't have after hours trading here. So things happen here. You get big news in the sector that is released after hours, then you have no chance to get in because it will just be a huge gap up in the morning. So that kind of thing happens here. So just be alarmed, or sorry, be aware, so that if you are going to get any tickers in these sectors, that they are more volatile, there is not as much volume, and they don't move the same way. Okay, last one. This is Planet 13, and I like this one because I played this one in the past, and it has had big moves, and it's been pretty successful. You can see right here, we've formed this nice solid base right here, and we've started to make our way up. We're hovering around this SMA 50, so we haven't made any daily trend changes yet. So a big move could happen here, especially given the fact that we have earnings coming up in the next couple of weeks. So I'm going to just keep my eye on this one. I just drew that little pattern so that we could see how it looks on this time frame. And we could possibly see a breakout here on the smaller time frame. So on the, when you see it on the hourly time frame, then we're not going to get as big of a move that we're going to get when it looks good on the daily time frame. So I will definitely be watching this one just because I do like this one. When we had such awful pullback in most of the sector, this one didn't pull back that hard, and it's been strong. It's been strong for a long time. It's a healthy looking ticker, and it is definitely a place that I want to go and hang out in Vegas. So I went through all the cannabis tickers that I could see possible breakout setups in. If anybody wants me to analyze any other cannabis tickers that I didn't put into these videos, feel free to post something in the comments and I'd be happy to include them in another analysis video. So for this video, these are just the setups that I'm keeping an eye on. None of them look like they are like immediately ready to explode, but I know that we do have CRON earnings coming up, and that could possibly light another fire in the sector like the SNDL earnings did. So that's something I'm watching for, and a reason why I felt that I should do the video tonight just in case, because I think that the earnings are tonight or possibly tomorrow. So let's wait and see how those go, and hoping that those earnings give us another leg up in the cannabis sector.